Catch up while I just clean my glasses so they're nice and clear and everything is completely visible. Let's pop these on and see who's here. Justin Thomas, Red Ox, Graham Shaw, Herbie Grief, Happy Little Fox, aka Benji, Cambridge Mark, Kevin Hardesty, Arthur Touche, Jackson is here, DCL, Acolyte, Mr. Pio, Graham Shaw, Monkey Man here, Frost Giant, Zem, Jonathan Hughes, John Payton, Dennis, Harris Chalk is here, Justin Thomas. Everything is just kicking off, so we're ready to go. Happy weekend. I'm not even sure what day it'll be where you are, but it is nonetheless round about the weekend. Let's start off with the sterilization scanning with ultraviolet energy, courtesy of eBay's finest charlatans. Oh, I got a string of fair lights, Christmas lights, but they're the same type of supplier as the dodgy ones, but these ones are low voltage. I'm going to open the power supply and we'll check inside it. I can show you them if needs be. I also have a new toy. It's a scintillation radiation meter, which is very interesting. Got quite a few toys. You're looking good, Big Clive. Why, thank you, Liz Edwards. Is that just because I've shaved my head? Well, Ralphie shaved my head. It was shaved by an undertaker again. To the undertakers with the Barbary type skills, I mean, obviously, like completely shaving your head isn't super skilled, but you know, it's the thought that counts. To undertakers, there are probably any orange stuff. Well, there is this small orangey coloured flame here. It looks yellow, but it is orange. That's been sitting here for quite some time. From a video made many moons ago, but why is it here? I think it's been here all the time. I bet Ralph would get a big clientele for people who wanted their head shaved by an undertaker. People are weird. Would that explain why the back of your head is bleeding? Is the back of my head bleeding? Probably. Did he do it with a skull? What skull, Mr. Eggcake? He did it with, you know what's the best way to describe? It's the wee skeleton shavers. The Chinese one that I took a look at, the metal blade. They're mostly metal blades, but some of them have a plastic assembly at the end. It's very good. My very fine hair cuts very easily, even when Ralph does it, and he's like. What's the weather like? The reason it's called Storm Babet is because the Storm Babet has been hitting Britain. And we got some of it, but you know what? The Isle of Man is one big storm all the time. It's in the middle of the Irish Sea, so nothing really major there. Bonsoir, nuts and proud. Does Ralphie do makeup as well? He does, Raven Looney. He does makeup because he has to make up the bodies and make them look pretty for presentation where people are viewing them. I've never gone into the details of that because I'm not really interested. The phone exchange was invented by an undertaker, indeed, Paul Byerly, when he felt that a relative of his rival was automatically transferring calls. Well, it was a manual exchange, was transferring calls to the rival. So he made the automated exchange and did her out a job. Don't need makeup for cremation. It depends, Monkey Man here, if the family is viewing the body before it gets cremated. Excuse me. I am gets all the weather the Irish reject. Indeed, Tom Houston, we get all the weather full stop. 1 month's rain one day in Cork, Ireland, Kieran Kennedy. It was pretty wild here. I had to go out in the middle of the night while I was still up at that point and clear out the gutters because the water was just pouring off the front of the house. Fortunately, being a bungalow, it was all reachable. All storms should be called Carn. They could, Ronald, just give them numbers. The demon barber of Ramsey, the turtle moves. That's true, but he could then he could charge for the burials. Hutchie okay from the storm? Hutchie always just hides in my neighbour's garage for the storm and then turns up afterwards. She'll be fine. Chipmunk, the automatic armours, yes, odd fact. The telephone engineer, Alman Stauger, showed the prototype to Laughter and got thrown out. He called it the most expensive laugh ever. He'd been offered stock. The train did not go take two tomorrow, says Craig. Ah. Travelling problems, flooded lines. Greetings, White Sapphire. Are you Reverend Big Clive of the Church of the Flying Haggis? I'm not sure about the Flying Haggis. Reverend Clive, though. Dr. Reverend Clive. Not sure what order they come in. They're all fake. Is the Palace Lido still there? Not as a ballroom, Stephen G., but the Palace Lido is still there as a building, I think. Is it? Not sure. There's the Palace Cinema. Maybe the Lido's gone next. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to clear throat. Lots of coffee at the moment. My coffee's stronger than usual. I wonder who made it. Did you make it yourself? Beard looking on point tonight, the synergy. The temptation was to get ginger dye into it to fill in these patches, but maybe not. Thank you, Mr. Warwick. Much appreciated. Lots of rain here last night. In northern Finland, -10, lots of snow, Cambridge more. Interesting. Strange enough, I thought you were in Cambridge, bizarrely. Have you taken a PCR test for nautical? I don't have one, but I'm not ruling out the possibility it may be recurring modern COVIDs, the latest version. Not really sure. It didn't show up in the last test I did, but then again, it wasn't. The test was just random bits that were left that had been interfered with. To be honest, I'm not too bothered about that. Have you ever tried coffee with powdered wild haggis sprinkled on top? It's very peppery. It's a bit not... it might be all right in small quantities. How to become a member of the Church of Flying Haggis, Big Toe? You have to eat haggis. That's the main requirement. MOSFET's my induction cook went bang tonight, John Payton. Now, was it just the MOSFETs, or was there something else that led up to that, I wonder? Calling for -4 Sunday night, I need to buy propane. Ah, Chen North Air Guns. It's not too bad, though. -4, but how low will it go? Don't dye beard, leave it grey. You'll look like me, Horvath. No, I don't want to look like you. I want to look young. Paul Barley, you're obviously man of very drawers. How many drawers do you have? And are they mainly used for storing shots? No, only one is used for storing shots, but it does store 4 thanks to 3D printed frame. The hammer being so precarious that anger is making my left eyelid vibrate. It has little rubber feet in front that actually stop it from sliding off. Craig Matthews, Egglessie, I'm good. I just lot of deadlines pass and now I'm having a rest, very tired too. I hate deadlines. There's nothing quite like a deadline to ruin creativity. I used to with projects, I used to just try and get right in and get as much done as possible before the deadline. Then relax. Original Flying Hag Steve Hislop. Packrat UK. He passed away, didn't he, in a crash? He was a racer, if I'm right there. Ekothusky have so many deadlines. They're not terribly productive things. Then again, if there weren't deadlines, we'd never finish the job, would we? Raven Lewis says they don't actually fly, they just get the name because of the way they leap at your jugular. Indeed, there have been some flying haggises. Fortunately, they are more or less extinct now. Technical question. Is a Type S RCD acceptable to provide additional protection of feeder cable to another DB while also providing discrimination between both RCDs? I would say yes. As long as the final RCD that's protecting a particular circuit is the sort of instant trip. A Type S RCD has a slightly higher trip current of usually about 100 milliamps and a slight time delay of 100 milliseconds, which is still very quick tripping. It will give you 5 full sine waves, theoretically. Ow, which will feel like a lot. Who else is the latest COVID, Fred? Who knows who's got latest COVID? Quiet tonight, 599. That's fine, it says 610 here now, but who knows? Hmm. Adam Bryant, people believe the hype about haggis. Haggis being just sheep's guts and things like that. They don't like it, but that's exactly what they eat in burgers. Ali refused to refund a non-receipt claim. I think I'm done with them trying to earth their guns. Ah, non-receipt. Right, okay. Yeah, I think they're feeling the pinch now with. I've noticed they've suddenly changed a few things with the threat of Timu, although Timu isn't exactly the same thing. DLH190 says, I kept all the old incandescent halogen lamps when I changed to LED 10 years ago, just in case. Is there a like situation where LED light in my house might fail? They talk about this big electromagnetic pulse, EMP. I'm not convinced it's going to happen as such, but we'll find out. Thank you, Fenor Evans Star. Much appreciated. That's very generous of you. I've probably pronounced your name wrong. It's so easy to do. But I like haggis. Still waiting for my oven element. Going to turn the heating up full and cook lasagna on the radiators. Don't know if that would work, DCR. Time to get yourself an air fryer. It's like an oven, but smaller. I still haven't found dangerous products on Temu. Very disappointing. I'm doing my best to find dangerous products. When I thought I had found one, it was the string of mains voltage fairlights. It turned out they sent USB ones, which technically could be mains voltage, but they are USB. They're safe. Annoying. I want dangerous products. The only dodgy thing they've sent so far is the radioactive pendant. Loved your video on the printer ink cartel. Who knew printers could print money for unscrupulous ink companies? Paul, it's just that whipped up such a storm of inkjet haters. I get the feeling that the people that hate inkjets are the ones that don't print colour images much. SK, how's Temu spyware? The app encourages, it's one of these, it's a bit like Facebook. It's not as bad as Facebook probably, but it does like contact all your friends and say, hi, come and join Temu. And if you recommend to friends, you get discounts. So the kids love that aspect of it. That and the people who Temu rivals hate Temu. I don't use. There was also that thing that if you hand them your credit card details on their site, they'll be instantly sold on this sort of dark web and things like that. I think this is just very bitter competition, but I use PayPal, which provides a barrier, separation barrier, security on the PayPal side between me and Temu. They don't get my details on an ongoing basis. All that fluffers for anti-refill, not so sure, Holder B. I think the diaphragm was specific for actually providing a slight ink resistance and stopping it flowing just by gravity into the printer. Ah, Mark Gray's the fancy Ninja air fryer. I've got a basic one. Vapes containing capacitors now. I've heard of this mix spanner, but I don't think they are capacitors. I think they're lithium cells with wires in the end, wire-ended lithium cells, which is interesting. Almost worth getting some to see if I can find some of those. Wonder what brands it is. I think is it the Elf Bar version 2 or something like that? But it does sound, I don't think capacitors would do the job. Not unless they're writing capacitor on the side of it, just to appease the Karens. Oh, they're using capacitors now. That's okay. The world is safe again. No. I have some from the Elf Bar version 2, Rob Worrell. Interesting. I'll have to see if I can get some. Talking of which, well, the patrons will know what I'm talking about here. A string of lights I got off. I'll show you the solar panel with them. A string of outdoor lights that was faulty. Looked as though they'd had a bit of an incident with a higher voltage, maybe 240 volts when they were designed for 3 volts. This unit came with 2 of these in it, marked 1800 milliamp power. The other one was in test. This one clocked in at 1200 milliamp power. But nice solar panel. I tested it today in winter sunshine in the morning. distant sunshine, got 200 milliamps out of it. Not bad at all. But anyway, Gatville Fury only use inkjet to print and printable CDR media. I have I've got my old Canon printer over there, sitting on top of a pinball machine that had the CD tray. It's nice you got 2 free lithium cells. When it arrived, it was very obvious. Oh, Redneck Atheist. Yes, check that the little progress indicator, the little live thing is in the progress bar going boop, red, because we might be along there if you're not in the moment. Just if it is still live. Evening, Katie. But yeah, printers. I get the feeling that the people that were the most angry about, and there were lots of angry people about inkjet printers, all saying LaserJet's the way to go. The laser printer, particularly the Brother laser printers, seem very popular. But they were all angry about the inkjet printers because they obviously unplug it and then plug it in once a month to print something, and then it does a cleaning cycle and there's no ink left, and they say, but I only got 3 pictures out of it. But they're unplug it and plug it in and only using it rarely, so it has to, if you unplug an inkjet printer, it doesn't know how long it was unplugged for, so by default it will usually do a cleaning cycle just to try and make sure the heads are clear and ready to print. My EcoTank, I've had it for 6 years, 6,000 prints. Apparently the waste ink reservoir, which is where all the ink that's purged through when it's trying to clean the heads, because there's nothing else to clean the heads with other than squirting some ink through, it's apparently 35% full, which is nothing compared to what I thought it was going to be. I was all primed and ready to pull the ink reservoir out, flush it out with water, and then use a code to reset it. Keep the printer in the fridge. No, I'm not sure if that's actually helpful. But I get the feeling that the people that were angry are the ones that don't print much. The inkjet printer needs to be used fairly regularly to keep it going. And also, if you get a cheap one, have no qualms about filling it with cheap ink. Bulk ink. Are all Eco ink tanks resettable? I think so, Robbie Blackman. But I know that the modern ones, the service tank, the service cartridge may be chipped now, which is a bit naughty, so they get a little bit of extra money out of you. We need a standing test. I'm full of brilliant ideas tonight. Write them down, SK. You'll forget them. Hope you're not going to put ink. No, James Bennett. People asked about putting ink in the soda stream. That would be horrific. I wonder if that battery's finished charging yet. I'm going to go and check. One moment. Still charging. Don't drink printer ink. It's pretty nasty stuff indeed, Harrow. You do get food grade ones, but I wouldn't recommend drinking it anyway. Nuns, Mr. Eggcake. What? Nuns? So what happens when the waste tank is full on an eco tank? What happens, Randy, is that it says, error, can't print, seek service, and you're supposed to take it to a service centre, and they're supposed to take the ink tank out, put a new one in, and then enter their super secret service codes. But there is third-party software that can do it, and you can test this software, and it will, to see if it's going to work, you don't let it get right to the very end, but the ink reservoir, I think, no, actually, when it's full, isn't it? But you can actually just reset it back to a percentage, to 10% to test the software. So does your ink magenta explosion? Yes, at Clar, it could well be. What battery were you checking, Samuel Club? It was the one that came with a solar lighting panel. I love my brick, says Jack Attack. Your brick. How often do you need to use an inkjet? Kevin Harsey. Well, I use my printer for every video, for the glossy pictures. It gets used a lot. How often do you need to use it though? Once a week, maybe leave it running and just every so often just print something. It doesn't have to be big, just to keep it exercised. Happy Little Fox, AK Benji, nice thoughts, but turns out, well, no, let's not go there. The tax authorities, HMRC, are using Capita, but let's not go there because that's terrible. Oh, wait, I remember the Bad Dragon Brick. Maybe that's it, Jezo. Maybe that's what Jack Attack's using. Is Jack Attack using a brick? That'd be quite big. Formidable. What paper do you use, Craig Matthews? I use generic bulk eBay glossy inkjet printer, but I use 180 grams a square meter because I found that the heavier, thicker cardboardy photo paper doesn't go through the printer so easily. What we're going to build the solar panel? Not really sure. Not sure what to do with it. I've gone down to potato vision. That's all right. Brick is a dead phone. No, yes, you can brick your phone, Megavolt Meister. All right, I just bought a replacement ink tank. It was £13. That's not bad. That's fine. Jack found Father Jack from Father Ted TV show. Ah, not proud. Not sure. Didn't really watch that. I know my family did, but I didn't. Hannah Tower says, I miss having a 3D printer. Yeah, what happened there? How do you not have one if you had one before, or did you just have access to one? They're very cheap these days. Echo, you bought it in advance. That's not a bad idea. Case model, what current do you think the solar panel puts out? I measured it 200 milliamps this morning, but that was in low sitting winter sunshine the distance, so it could probably do a lot more. Do you keep all the pictures? Some of them, yes, for a while, but they build up, as you can imagine. But generally speaking, I archive the images. Thank you again, Finor Evanstar. I'm going to have a moment here. Thank you for all you do. I've learned so much from your videos, and your videos help me get to sleep during difficult nights. I appreciate your content very much. Thank you. Glad to help. Right now, the last week or so, I could have done with somebody else to help me get to sleep, in the sense. Maybe I'll have to watch more Eric Oakes. That usually does it. I went for an interview at a well-known office scanner printer manufacturer. The working conditions were crap. DCL. One of my neighbours in Glasgow worked for HP, I think it was, in their call centre, with people calling angry all the time about dead printers. Watch Ralphie's videos. Yeah, I didn't mean that boring, the chipmunk. That would just get me agitated, probably. I didn't want the mess of cleaning the old waste ink. That's wise enough, Echo the Husky. It does make a huge mess. Solar panels on the roof? No, Quark. A little small solar panel. Just smoke some weed? Yeah, that's not so easy over here. It's still outlawed here. Like I said, they're doing some more project vids. Maybe not mains powers. This may anger the higher powers, Craig Matthews. That is how it's going these days. There's a genuine concern that the Karens are like... For that reason, I've removed various videos from YouTube because I felt they could lead to problems if people tried to do them and they zap themselves. But hey, this is what happens. Ian Dawkins, my 3D printer paid for itself by simply making closures for my projects. Reasonable enough. Lovely, Clive, how are you? I'm fine, Solar Shed. How are you? What's the time, says Lids? I guess it's time for fire, but yeah, once I've powered the igniter up, we can use it to pull out the gas candle again and show the others the gas candle. I should really have topped this up, shouldn't I? Yes, I should have. Is there enough for a woofle? Yes, just so long as it doesn't leak out. Stand by for woofulation. Step back. Wooflin. Fireballs. Woofle. Excellent. Next fiery gadget. An unexpected find on eBay while searching for something Chinese, a gas adapter, and then I found a little gas candle they featured, but they weren't really available. It looked like a clone of another product that they were obviously quite strict on. I found this, the Ronson Veraflame demonstration model, and it's a gas candle. It's a gas candle with cylinders that say butane gas container only for use in service department, not for resale. Interesting construction, I'll show you them. But the idea of the gas candle is that you can light it like this, right, and it's got a little flame, and then you adjust it, and apparently the correct height, I've just blown it out, the correct height for 4 hours burning time is 1 inch or 25 millimeter, 25.4 if you're going to be pedantic or a vac. But this is an interesting thing. It is butane powered. Let me show you what's inside. You can adjust it high, you can adjust it low, and if you slide this off, hydraulic press channels, battery flames, fun times. If you slide this out, here is the reservoir with the butane in it, and a gauge to tell you how long it's going to run when you top it up. Well, the gauge is that way up. So up to here is a 4-hour runtime. And there's an interesting little inverted hook in there, a little pipe, to try and limit how far you can fill it so you don't fill it right to the brim. Then as it expands, it damages the thing. But it's got a very odd fill port, but that's not a huge problem. That's not going to replace the brass one. What ink goes up your bum? Really, I suppose any really, but not while lit. I think people would want bigger candles for that, like in the Catholic Church. That is actually pretty good. It is. Let me show you one of the refill containers. I've just been pissing gas everywhere while trying to refill the refill containers. If you extend collapse it several times, does it self-extinguish? I don't think so. This is the refill container, and it looks specific. I think you have to buy this one to fill your candle, which would probably get quite expensive, but no dripping wax is what some people would probably want. However, the inside of this appears to have a little rubber core with a tiny hole through it. And when you put it on here, it pushes down past that rubber core and down through the hole and into the void with the gas, and then the gas can flow through a wee pinhole in the side of the pipe. But it's a super fine one. The rubber has perished because I've tried putting a needle down through it and injecting butane into it, and then when I took it back out, it just pished out everywhere, and it was squirting gas and liquid gas out. It did not work too well. It's more of a, shall we say, a collector's thing now. Maybe I'll open one and show the inside to appease the interest. It comes with a slightly grubby base to give it that look, but it will also go into standard candle holders. I wonder why they specifically had a demonstrator one. What's so special about it? Thank you, Will1985. Much appreciated. Pissing gas equal carbonated pee. What was the thing that you injected fluid into and then the can collapsed? Megavolt Meister. That was an attempt at refilling one of my isopropyl alcohol cleaning sprays. And what happened was I got a big syringe and I injected isopropyl alcohol in just as a test, just because the can was fully out of pressure. So I injected it in, and then I got the my little adapter and put the butane cylinder in and tried to pressurize it with butane. And something happened, and the can just went super cold, which is normal with the butane, but suddenly it just went bang and collapsed completely flat. Very exciting, particularly when you're holding it. It's not fun when things like that happen, but not to worry, it happens. Slightly fun. I'm just going to put my candle out of the way here, and then we can go on to the next gadget. Certainly, nice haircut. Thank you, Bob Apples. I spent a lot on it. Not really. Cold atmosphere crushed it for nauticals. It did go negative pressure inside, which is quite odd. Phase change, yeah, but it was. I'm not sure why it did it in that way. It was really unexpected. I've never had that before. What's the crap new Patreon logo? Echo the Husky, it's hideous. It's like a big blob. I guess there's a limit in how many logos you can have. It's hideous. But then again, sometimes Patreon does weird things. When's the beer going to the Mystic Black mode again, Smoke? If it's going anywhere, it's going auburn, as they say, or ginger, in other words. Just like the way vacuum trucks can implode, they can, Randy. A sudden collapse in Can Your Hands would be so funny to watch. Maybe I'll do it, CNC Dad, in a video. High current inductive can crusher, no need, Craig Matthews. I could fake it by just wrapping a bit of wire around, say, I'm energizing it now, and then squirt the butane in. Supercritical isopropyl alcohol, not really sure, Paul Byerly. I'm not sure what happened inside. Full ginger, it's very hard to go full ginger. This is the real colour up here, and down here, it only goes a bit white below this area here. So this is fake, and that's proper white in there. But this is the real colour, so it doesn't actually cause any problems. Lost your temper this week? All the time, yes. Not really. Sounds like the butane rapidly dissolved into the isoalcohol, Redneck Atheist. I'm not sure what happened. Whatever it was a dramatic vacuum. Maybe there's a use for that. I was called Strawberry Blonde once. Tit. Oh, right, okay, fanatical. I would call my hair Dirty Fair. Shh, it's dye. It is. Solar Shed. It is a recent haircut. We feel cheated. Yeah. I missed the Hutchie update. Hutchie is fine, Kevin Hardesty. What is the name of the video? What? Garbage user, which video? There's no video of that cylinder collapsing. I've not made one. Does any other language call it isopropanol? Hanatar. It's called three names. Well, it's called multiple names. There's isopropyl alcohol, isopropanol, rubbing alcohol. It's got loads of different names. Any interesting Halloween finds? I have not been into Poundland. Nothing really radical. The LED lighting at Halloween tends to be a bit crap. I'm trying not to cut the moustache here, far it'll go, but it's getting difficult not to eat it. Fanatical, you can trim it just up, out the way. Eating less will help lose weight, Holder B. That is the secret to losing weight. And the type of food you eat. Was in Sainsbury's today, no interest in Halloween stuff, just some relatively boring stuff, Craig Matthews. I would guess we probably had similar stock, including the V for Vendetta mask and trays for candy. Tried to dye mine blue. I wouldn't dye mine blue, Mr. Eggcake. To me, I'd prefer it was a natural-ish colour. I do like the multi-tonal look, though. Poundland still sounds naughty. Well, Redneck Atheist, they do sell sex toys and stuff, so it is quite naughty. I made my own hash oil using IPA and a rice cooker. Works a treat, SK. Have you come across supercritical butane extraction? It's quite interesting. Thank you, Bob Apples. Have a small drink of me, just enough for a Jaeger. Thank you, much appreciated. Supercritical butane extraction is something, I don't actually do this, but it's something I found online while researching extracting the oils from herbs. And you basically get a piece of plumbing drainage pipe with end caps that you can screw onto it. And on one you drill it like a pepper pot at the bottom, and the other end is like basically a salt pot with and also just the right size for your butane lighter refill cylinder. Then you pack it full of herbs, and then you put the tops on, and you basically then hold it over a glass dish, and you empty the full can of butane into the top, and the butane goes down, simmers down through the herbs, extracts all the oils and resins out of them, and then drips out the bottom. And then it boils off, and it leaves you a syrup that is the sort of the pure extract from your herbs. The downside is this is basically a full can of gas you've just released. You do it outdoors. People have done it indoors in their like kitchens, and then it's lit and that's blown all their windows out. Matt England says, I've done butane extract many times. I have a vacuum chamber for purging too. Excellent. House about 10 doors down with their tree up. Really wet wear air. I did see some fairlights in the window, but they were Halloween themed. Don't feature any more strobe lights that aren't strobe lights. No. I did buy one light in Glasgow and brought it back, and it looked promising. It says flickering lantern light. It was one of the little push on, push off lights type thing, but their idea of flickering is just chasing the LEDs round in a circle, so that's not my idea of flickering. Gunshaw, I saw a Christmas wreath on a door today, a bit too early, methinks. It is. That's way too early. Why are people putting the lights up so fast? I was scrolling down to the bottom. Hi, Clive from Sherwood Forest. Greetings back to Sherwood Forest, Spider Driver Lee. Drinky poos, indeed. Drinky poos, but coffee at the moment. True silver tree, multicoloured light and tinsel, wet wear. Just push it in the bin, yes. Halloween has gone very commercial. It's kind of spoiled it. You're doing Edinburgh this year, Big C, Chris. I only do the tattoo when I do the tattoo. Keep in mind that I'm self-employed, so you never know what the future holds. I've seen the orange LED lights from Poundland, New Rock Boy. It's quite nice because they're phosphor orange, so they actually light a nice tangerine colour, and they're very high output compared to the old orange LEDs. Is it possible to spontaneously combust? Not really. I think that's usually just people with a high fat content who die and land in a heater. Frankie Walker says, just did a yummy steak pie. All steak pies should be yummy. I'm going to Glasgow again on Halloween. Is there anything I should go see, Fanatical? Halloween, just wonder. I would recommend if you just want a blaze of coloured lights and strobing stuff and thumping music and sound effects, go to Level X. It's the top floor of the St. Enoch Shopping Centre. Do I have my Level X card here? I don't think I have. York is flooded. It seems a lot of places are flooded. Any videos on the insides of the flame machines that too? No, I've not got any videos on those. I do not have my Level X card here. The temptation is to show you the code in it and see if you guys can crack it and take all my credit and my prize tickets. CameraTim.com, the local supermarket, which was ShopRite, kind of semi-Isle of Man owned, is now becoming a Tesco. The Tesco products are moving in force, and they've got all their Christmas stuff appearing. York always floods, it does. Do you ever lose your temper and fall out with other colleagues at work? Not really, Solar Shed 13, to be honest. When I was young, I took things more seriously, but it's pretty laid back. It's nice. The tattoo crew in particular, we got on very well together. Flame projectors are quite interesting with Megavolt Meister. There's a few different types. I have featured a flamethrower on the channel. It's basically, it takes a butane refill cylinder, but imagine one with a tube down to the bottom, so it's liquid it puts out instead of gas when it's pointed vertically. And it basically just pushes into a solenoid valve, and it's got ignition electrodes, and it's basically just a solenoid valve letting the gas out, and ignition electrodes that spark to ignite it. And that's more or less funnel shave. Not recently, no. That's more or less what the tattoo ones are. But we had two types. We had ones that blew out liquid butane on the show. I think it was butane, not propane. I think it's butane, not sure. The other one sprayed out isopropyl alcohol. And interestingly, it had a wee touch of mineral oil in it. I think it was to lubricate the solenoids to stop it washing all the oil out the solenoid. Also, it may have actually changed the visual effect. Stephen D. Brown, the real question is, Clive, will it be a big Tesco or a wee Tesco? Hopefully it's not going to be a Tesco Metro with inflated prices. It's quite a big shop, the local one. So I think it's going to be a full-size Tesco. It's not going to be one of the other ones that charge a lot for a small range of products. Jerry BVR, it's 3 degrees C here. Excellent. The colder the better. And try to program a PIC12R for the PIC-Kit 3 and keep getting target as invalid calibration data. Error. Any suggestions? Joe Mitchell-Tree. That's odd. I'd suggest updating the firmware on your programmer and your software, just in case, because it shouldn't detect that. Is it locked? It should unlock it. If it's programming from scratch, it's not like it can't unlock it. Remember, if I added Oliphant, my little flamethrower, to make more yellow light, that would have worked. But the isopropyl alcohol is pretty good for yellow flames anyway. Missed super chat. Did I miss a super chat? Hold on. Let me just double check. I got Will, I got Bob Apples, I got Fionor, his 2 contributions, thank you, and Mr. Warwick. I got them all. That's all right. Don't want to miss out any. Saying thank you. I know you use enamels. I don't really use enamels as such. Have you ever tried spray on conformal coatings? I have used conformal coatings on circuit boards. Yes. Tropicalized spray, TDO. Have you heard of the shutter people? Not recently, Monkey Man here. I have low-level lighting. I see, only tried ethanol. Ethanol, meme Jeff, it has a blue flame. It's not great for that. But isopropyl alcohol has a very yellow flame. Would you like to see an isopropyl alcohol flame? Yes, you would. One moment. Well, let's spray flames everywhere. So here's ethanol-ish, or methanol, because it's the, I think mainly ethanol with denaturants. I'm just making sure I've got it all off the hands before I do this. IPR blue flame is more oxygen, really. Hold on. Let's try this. This is ethanol. Not a terribly bright flame. This is isopropanol. Much more yellow flame. So isopropyl alcohol burns by default with a much yellower flame. Need both at once? No. That would probably result in an instant of me dropping it. Methylated spirits, they call it in the UK. It's the denatured alcohol used for cleaning and things like that. But they make it this purple colour, which is very lovely purple colour. But they also put loads of Bitrex in it so you don't chug it. They used to put methanol in it to make people go blind if they drank it as a deterrent, because the main reason is they want their money. They want you to buy vodka or whiskey or gin or rum. They don't want you buying cleaning alcohol, even if it is ethanol, and drinking it. That was covered in the past. Let's blind people to protect our financial income, says HMRC. I thought glycol caused blindness. Ethylene glycol has the same effect. Methanol will cause blindness because it's metabolized in your body into an acid, and if the signs that it's happening are not just feeling ill but also seeing a slight sparkling in your vision because the acid is basically starting to attack the optical nerves, I think. But the remedy for that, both ethanol, and this is useful to know, the remedy for methanol poisoning and ethylene glycol, which is the antifreeze poisoning, is uh, ethylene. It's vodka. Just drinking a decent quantity, keep yourself tiddly with vodka, rum, gin, whiskey, anything, because the ethanol will get metabolized first before the methanol or the ethylene glycol. Obviously, seek medical attention if this happens, but that is the main thing. That's what they'll do. They actually give you, basically, you drink ethanol and it keeps your body occupied processing that while the rest passes through your system. And then you piss and shit it out, and then it is gone, and you don't suffer the damage. Me and Jeff, methanol, formaldehyde, and formic acid. That's the one. Yep, Clive, the stronger the better. Indeed, James. Och. Yeah, but binds to methanol and is processed out of your system. So this is why the hospitals actually stock spirits, just in case. Thank you, Size Skanda. Much appreciated. You do shit it out, Megavolt Meister. Shit and piss all the stuff out, yes. Stupid people will drink anything. Alcoholics will drink anything. That's a bit of a downside. Some people just seem more susceptible to it. I had a co-worker and he'd start his day off with super strong coffee with multiple extra shots in it. His lunch, well, he mixed alcohol with stuff. He'd get cans of the Nutriment, which is basically a milk drink with nutrients in it, as an alternative for lunch. Maybe he'd save money. As soon as he finished work, he'd be drinking, and he just did drugs, just everything. He was just addicted to everything. It just seemed his character was just a shame, because the guy was super intelligent, but on just a spiral downwards. I don't even know what happened to him. Kind of part of me wonders what happened to him, part of me doesn't really want to know, because it was a bit scary. We'd finish work, go back to the accommodation, a hotel we're staying in, a particular job, and I'd go up and have a shower, change of clothes, and come back out. And he'd arrive back at the hotel, and there'd be a pile of cocktail glasses in front of him. He'd been drinking sugary cocktails all the time. We'd been up just getting changed and ready to go for a meal. Don't use wash up liquid as cooking oil. No, that's not a good idea. What work was that? That was the Birmingham rep. I think it was, Mr. Eggcake. I think it was the Birmingham rep. Might not have been the Birmingham rep. Might have been in Manchester. I really can't remember. So many jobs. Sounds like when I was running my pub, DCL. Some people just have a drinking problem. What's in window cleaner? Vinegar, mainly. Some of alcohol in it, but not really great. Intelligence and substance abuse have a terrifying overlap. They do. These days, a lot of the people are basically switching to cannabis for that. It's all about suppressing that brain, that overactive brain. It happens. Very common. Some have ammonia in them, they do. Ammonia is great. I've got ammonia right here. My little bottle of smelling salts I got ages back. Why did I get a bottle of smelling salts? I saw the weightlifters using it and thought, wonder why they do that. They sniff it just before they lift weights because it concentrates their mind. And you could get that guy Hall, that I forget his name every time. Thingy Hall, the Britain's strongest man, world's strongest man. He sells the super strong one. And do you know the only difference between this one and the super strong one is the super strong one is a bigger bottle with a little puff of cotton wool at the bottom. Not sure what you'd call that in America. With a drizzle of the ammonia in it. And it's just a larger volume. So when you sniff, you get a larger quantity from the big void at the top of the bottle. Eddie Hall, that's the one. Eddie the Beast Hall. I use beer to try to shut my brain down, says Franco. Uh, the local beer sold at my local pub, which is really it's in the shortlist for winning pub of the year for not just the islands. I think it might be the whole of UK. I'm not sure, but it sells locally brewed beer, brewed next to where Ralph lives, and 2 pints of that. Just if I have 2 pints and then I come back home, I won't be able to stay awake. I'll lie down in the bed and I'll just zonk out immediately. Maybe I should drink more beer. Maybe that's the answer to getting to sleep. Mean Jeff, can also bake some cookies in emergency with ammonium bicarb? I make my own shower spray, a few drops of pure liquid water, and a tablespoon full of white vinegar. Ah, right, okay, Chris Rogers. But the thing about our shower spray is many of them contain what's called a calcate agent. What's it going to be? EDTT, ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid, EDTA. And that actually dissolves metals, including calcium, because the calcium deposits are actually a melted metal. TDO Brandano, I much prefer to have in the slightly buzzed state. I don't get these people who drink themselves into a stupor at the weekend. Every weekend, they actually look forward to getting so blind drunk that they have a hangover the next day. I don't understand that. So counterproductive. Beer equals short sleep, not quality sleep. Indeed, probably. Ansels, Ian Stevens, are we talking beer here? Or not sure, but it's what is the Viking? What is the name of the local brewery? Odin. The Odin Brewery. Beer works unless you have celiac. Ah, not so great. This is where perhaps the herbaceous extracts would be advantageous. Ethanol interferes with the normal sleep cycles. Apparently interferes with REM sleep, Rifleman. No drink for me. I have tablets to take and the two don't mix. That's not so great, Dennis. It's usually antibiotics are susceptible to damage by alcohol. Desiana, I don't stop long enough to get a hangover. Oh no. What's a hangover, Big Clive? Well, ZX Renew, I know. It's like I've only had 2 significant ones in my life and I don't want any more. Alcohol induces a diabetic coma, then your digestion gets paused, even in the head, and then it's headache time. Ah, Hoderby. I'm not sure the complete science of that. It is. Alcohol is a depressant and makes you violent. Except when you add it to caffeine, apparently, which is what Buckfast does. A stimulant and depressant combined together. Gatful Fury, I drink every single day, sadly, as long as it's not too much. Keep it in moderation. Colin Rowley, it's sad people feel they have to get off the tits and drink another substance to have a good time. I hardly drink. Yeah, it's okay in moderation from time to time. Top secret tip about the YouTube channel. Early on, because I was struggling to have the courage to make videos, I did have a drink before some videos because it made them go a bit smoother. Sometimes too much, and then they just went all over the place, but they were better for it, to be honest, but not to where I don't do that now. Jaeger, not Jaeger, best served chilled. Jack Attack, indeed. It is time for a Jack Attack. To the alcoholics of the world, I hope they actually manage to pull back from alcoholism because, yes, drink's good, but only in moderation, like little tiny communion shots rationed out by the church. Your Jack Attack toast to alcoholics and their recovery. Oh, right, okay. Next gadget is radio code. I ordered this from Russia. Well, actually, it came from Cyprus, I think, because Russia's industry is screwed because of their war. They can't ship stuff out. Now, this one, if it sounds quite spicy, it's because it's not a standard Geiger tube counter. It is a scintillation. It's got either a crystal, I think it is probably crystal based, which emits light when a gamma photon goes through it. And it can't detect beta or alpha radiation directly, but it can detect the gamma decay of those. So, say for instance, I've been testing things. I've been testing fish, I've been testing bananas, avocados, everything. All these things people say, fish is radioactive. Bananas are highly radioactive. I did not find any difference between the bananas and ambient radiation, but the thing does work. Let me find something that's genuinely radioactive. Hold on. I've got something genuinely radioactive here. If I can open the bag. The bag is a Ziploc bag that is a zipped, ziplocked, and it's all, that's not opening. Anyway. Yeah, this isn't happening. It's a very fumbly, stiff Ziploc plastic bag. Bananas aren't real anymore. No, they're not what they used to be. Can you do 1 hour counts that thing, Megavoltmeister? It is interesting because it connects to your computer via USB or by Bluetooth or your phone. And you know, you get products that are okay and the software is shit, like the Chinese products, for instance, where they write shit software. This one does not have shit software. This one has extremely good software, very clearly written by someone who's good at writing code and is a geek. But anyway, here's the radioactive device. It is everybody's favorite healing pen. Oh, I can feel the ionic healing waves from the pen. Let's see what the Geiger counter says. It says it's 20 times ambient radiation. And it considers it being quite hazardous and it's giving a warning. Ah, yes. So that's detecting the gamma being emitted by this pen, which you can buy on eBay right now if you want. You could get one for a tenner. Ooh, very handy. They heal everything. Someone did a test with one of these on one of the pendants, and what it does is this does gamma spectroscopy. What that means is that it doesn't just detect a gamma photon going through it. It detects the energy as the intensity. So it's basically using an ultra-sensitive light sensor to detect the light emitted from the scintillation crystal. And what that means is it can detect the energy and it can identify, fairly roughly, but it can identify and create your chart of the output of the energy density, and it can identify the actual radioactive materials. And it was interesting because someone did a test on one of the pendants and they said really it was so broad spectrum they wondered if it was actually scrapings from a nuclear reactor. It may be that China actually is filling these with radioactive waste and sending it out to Karens, the contrarians, so they can heal themselves. Now I'm going to put this in its bag. I'd like to mention I do have this well labelled, so that if I pop my clogs, Ralph knows what he's finding when he's clearing the place, or whoever's still alive. I'm going to wash my hands now, not to get the radiation off, but to get any alpha emitting material off so I don't ingest it. Alpha and beta particles may not be able to go through materials, but if you ingest them, if you breathe them in or actually eat them, they can get lodged in your body and they can cause problems there. It does sound like pop rocks, but dangerous pop rocks. Now, this thing is a really neat thing, right? For a start, it's quite nice. The display's this way up, right? But you flip it over that way and the display automatically flips to match. It happens instantly. It's quite good. But you connect it to the phone. It's got a fairly complex app and it lets you do long-term data logging, but it also you can get a little ankle holster and it connects to your phone with Bluetooth and you can walk around with this. You can walk around your local neighborhood and then once you get back home, you can pull up on your screen, you can pull up a map and it will show you radiation hotspots where you walked, and then you can go back to those places with the Geiger counter. You can narrow it down and you can find radioactive objects that were just basically out in the street, which is interesting. I'm going to turn this off. Turning it off is not a simple button press. To turn it off, you have to press and hold the button, then you have to go down to the power menu, which is, I just missed the power menu, haven't I? Yes, I have. And it goes off. Interesting. Hammer, won't look out of place tagged. Indeed, Mondo Dash Bush. Maybe we wear long trousers for that. Very interesting device. Was about £250-ish, I think. Plus, of course, HMRC took their cut because, you know, they actually contribute to society. Rand. But certainly, before I bought it, I looked at reviews by enthusiasts in atomic stuff, and they thought it was great. Walk around with it, make a video. I could, Jonathan Hughes. Supporting the Russian regime with your patrons' money. Brilliant. Hanatar. Supporting Ukrainians and Russian creative people, because let's face it, it's not them who started the war. Did you ever check your Ave hammer? I've not tested the Ave hammer. Should I check my Ave hammer for radiation? Hold on. I shall sit it up there. Watch me drop it. I'll sit it up there and leave it for a while. I should get one of those for work, says Megavoltmeister. Useful for finding those unexpected radiation sources. Bit disappointed that it did not really get anything significant off thoriated electrodes, but they were very thin ones and they might not be good quality. They might not even be thoriated tungsten electrodes. Ready first, I'd rather like to have one of those devices that I'd being able to map radiation in my local area would be interesting. Doesn't really have the moolah, don't really have the moolah at present though. Indeed, can you get like your employer to buy one? They probably don't want to know. Gas lamp mantles, upstairs it goes berserk rather predictably. Are you ready for the gas attack? I'm not sure what gas attack that is. I've just paid my taxes. The roads should be fixed any day now. That's a sore point here, Squeaky Badger. Yeah, lack of maintenance. Not too bad in Isle of Man, actually, but in Glasgow, terrible. I could test Ralph's whiskey. What's in that little fire extinguisher used in the dodgy cable video, Hanatar? It's something lactate, I think it is. The text on it is so tiny, it's absolutely covered. It's every single language with text that is literally... The text is about 0.5 millimeter high, which is tiny. I don't know if it tells you what's actually in it. But it was quite an unexpected thing. It was something like, it wasn't calcium lactate. I'm not sure what it was, but it was unexpected stuff. Any care for the Rugby World Cup? I'm sure my friends will be watching it right now, Luciano. The NBC, June and Kevin, but because they're into the rugby. What's the battery life on it? And can you turn off the sound? You can, Jan Robert Nergard. You can turn off the sound, and it's rechargeable, and it's got a fairly decent battery in it. The radiation is ambient. It's nothing really. The Ave hammer is not bad. It comes with a USB-C port on the end. What was that? Lactate, indeed. Lactate, Brian Cox. Not sure what it is, isn't it? Let me just turn this off so it stops clicking. It's got lots of settings in the unit itself. I have still to explore it. You can also choose the units it uses for displaying its data. Check out a lamp mantle. I have one wetware air, but I'm not going to go and dig it out in the attic now. Is Clive radioactive? I tested myself, Kenneth, and I'm not radioactive. I'm not above ambient levels. Share can't power itself in the radiation it picks up. It's not that high enough, JTEE3D. Do you know, the pendant, people just have this wrong idea. The pendant I showed, a lot of people said, could you just stick it in front of a solar panel and it would be able to power your whole house? No, nothing would happen. Someone did a video. Who was it? Was it Nerd Rage? Or Now Red? Not sure it was. No, it might have been in Applied Science. Not sure. But they basically got tritium tubes and encapsulated them in with a solar panel just to actually completely shield it from light and see how much power they could generate from the tritium optical emission. Wasn't very, very good. Will it mute a Karen? You can mute a Karen with radiation, yes. People actually wear radioactive pendants over their chests? Yes, Hanatar. It gets worse. The same quacks sell radioactive underwear, so you can wear thorium-infused underpants and expose your genitals to radiation for all day long. And worse still, thorium-infused bed sheets, so your whole room is just filled with radioactive alpha-emitting dust. It's just like, fucking hell. I thought that came from the Victorian era, but no, apparently not. I believe it was a Nerd Rage. I think it was Nerd Rage. Fussix Ferranto. Thank you, Chipmunk. Check the LEDs in the supercomputer for radiation. I don't think LEDs would be particularly radioactive. What if you wash the sheets, Fanautical? I guess somebody would wash it. I'm not sure how it's actually incorporated in. I'll sit it up next to the supercomputer. I would sit it up next to the lead soda, but I don't think the lead soda would by default be terribly radioactive. Part of me says I feel I need to make videos warning these people not to have radioactive pendants and stickers, but on the other hand, the sort of people who have them are usually the loud, opinionated, narcissistic contrarians and negatarians. So enjoy your radioactive pendants. As people have said, yes, but a little bit of radiation can stimulate your body's self-defense system. That's a kind of random thing. It's like, it's just having a big chunk of radioactive material dangling in your chest doesn't strike me as being great. But you know, a little most toxic, there is a name for it, low-level poison, where it's actually good for you in low quantities. Do you have a glow-in-the-dark watch face to test? No. I also tried it with tritium tube and got nothing particularly impressive off it. How about getting Ralphie to do a stream collab and have him talk about embalming? Horavac, Ralph is all a bit precious about that. He will not discuss his job at all. It's hard enough. The next stream that I'll be having with Ralph will probably in December. It'll be Christmas Eve because we've done that traditionally. Him and me do a live stream on Christmas Eve. But it's like usually hard talking him into it because he's so full of shit. Like more than me. Ah, homeopathic medicine, indeed, Zingaman. What are you doing for Halloween? Yes, Enderby. I will be turning off all the lights and pretending I'm not at home so no pesky kids ring the doorbell. Radiotherapy, yes, said X-Ray New, but not just self-administered by buying chunks of radioactive material. I do wonder how much material radioactive Drew has in his house, because he seems to. There's a trend of the atomic geeks go out hunting for radium ore in old radium mines, and then they use like that to narrow it down. They're digging down and holding it over. No, it's still there, not found it yet. And they've got their wee hammer and they're digging it out until they find it. And they hold the stone and it goes berserk and the alarm goes off. And then they put it in their wee bag and take it. And they must just have tons of radioactive material at home. Just now, a gas man's got a Bullfinch mini gas floodlight I was given a decade ago, and I think it's a few spare mantles in my tool store about 60 metres away, Redhead Forster. Whenever you change the mantles, if they are thorium mantles, do it outdoors, particularly when they've been used and they're just ash. Homeopathic radiation should be safe. Yes, very healthful. You're not going to hand out candy resistors. I usually do get a bag of candy just in case. Some random sweets, just in case kids do come by, so I can at least give them something. Drew sells rock samples. Aha. Didn't know he has a little sideline doing that. That's good. His most radioactive thing. Oh, let me go and get another radioactive thing. Americium, it's a smoke detector. The americium, the sensor is the actual, sensor thing. It's screened with metal, but it's here, right? So it is effectively in this area here, just next to the button. Watch this. So the LEDs are not showing much radiation. So I hold it down here. So it's getting some radiation, but I hold it up. Hear that? So down here, not much. Up there, it's detecting the sensor, the gamma emissions from the decaying alpha emitter, the americium. Okay. Interesting. Enough to set off the detector. You can set the level at which it goes. That ticking sensor at joints I go upstairs wetware, that's age for you. Americium also emits gamma. It's a byproduct of the decay. It's quite interesting. It's a science. Let me just hold this up so you can hear it, and then hold this next to it again. Goes berserk. So don't sleep the fire alarm under the pillow. It's fine in the ceiling, but one of Radioactive Drew's most radioactive items is an industrial smoke detector with that lump. Now it makes me realise maybe I shouldn't have taken the americium sample out of one of my smoke detectors in Glasgow, but not to worry, I think it's in a bag somewhere. Probably marked as radioactive. I remember showing it to someone, they said, why do you have that? It's just because, But anyway. We could hear it on the shelf. Aha. Also, you'll notice it sounds louder when I speak probably, because there is a automatic gain control in the microphone that the sensitivity goes up as it detects sound, but it's got a noise gate that if it's quiet, it cuts the background noise out. So now shall I turn this off? Technically speaking, it should draw less current than a standard Geiger-Müller tube one, because it doesn't have to step the voltage up to about 400 volts, which most Geiger counters work with. I've not tried this on my other Geiger counter. Maybe I'll try that at some point. CRTs look like shit and I don't get the retro gamer hype for them, Hanatar. You didn't live in the 1980s, but to be honest, LCD's fine for me, but the old cathode ray tube that's curved screen is just part of the image of those machines, the arcade games. I'll put this through out the way. Is Jägermeister radioactive? I don't think so. CRTs with a better colour gamut. I'm not even sure if that's the correct way to pronounce it. They're also flickery and stripy. CRTs are great, less eye strain, not so sure about that because of the scanning. But they're certainly more interesting technically. My Vectrex still works. Reasonable enough, Mondo Dash Brush. I gave my Vectrex away to a friend. CRT is a very low input lag wet wearer. There is virtually no processing at all in a CRT. I don't miss the line whistle from CRT TVs. Ekolowski, I could hear that when I was young so much. Thank you, Chopper Rooney, much appreciated. I could walk into pubs and even if the TV was not displaying anything, I could hear it. If it was active because of the line output transformer of the oscillator running at that sort of 15 kilohertz frequency. How'd you go about logging the counter over here? Power it from USB, connect to the computer and log it all the time, I guess. Not sure. CRTs dim, Holder B. They do dim down, but so does the lighting in LCDs. CRTs also burn in, but not as bad as the old plasma monitors. And OLED displays burn. Still got one of my Ilyama 70-inch CRT monitor somewhere, weighs a ton. Likewise, an old, oh God, what was it? It's what's the one with the strange shadow grid inside, the unusual one, Trinitron. It's unbelievable the weight of that thing. It's in Glasgow. It's just like, I hope I can find an enthusiast to take it away because there are enthusiasts for cathode ray tubes and it's a good display. It's an expensive one. I hope I find someone because it's going to be difficult to actually dispose of. It's so heavy. Raster display, if I'm not much mistaken. Standard monitors, but not games like the Vectrex was a vector display. Raster display is the scanning one. Vector is the one that draws it like an oscilloscope, like Tempest and Asteroids. Any plans for a Halloween video? None at all, Craig Matthews. But having said that, I'll probably do a live stream at short notice for the million, because that is going to happen probably within a few weeks. Sony developed that so they didn't have to pay RCA the licensing fee for the dot shadow mask. Oh, right, okay. Zadster, didn't know that. Most of the monitors, Paul, used to have the electrostatic charge at the front because keep in mind it is a continuous stream of electrons hitting the front of the screen. And you had special earthing grids that go in front to protect you from the harmful radiation from the monitors. Although, to be fair, if a old cathode ray tube is mistuned, it puts out X-rays. You have to be careful about setting the voltage correctly, which nobody probably was. I really want to blow a 5mm CRT display someday. What? Jeff. Blow a 5mm CRT display. Trinitron tubes are very heavy also. Yes, they are. What plaque for 1 million subs? It's a gold one, Mondo Dash Brush, but to be honest, these days it's the very simple laser cut looking one. It's not the domed cast button that it used to be. I don't think 1 million is still, it's not as special as it used to be. Is that me showing lack of gratitude? CCFL tubes also probably emit some betas. I'm not sure. I tested my neon indicators thinking because they have thoriated electrodes. I've not found any significant. I think it must be extremely low level. Nothing major. Me and Jeff, I want to make a tiny electrostatic CRT tube from my lab Pyrex tube. You might find some inspiration on Mike's electric stuff. He featured the original, a pixel, from one of the original Jumbotron displays. Is it Sony Jumbotron or Fuji? Can't remember. But it was the original big, huge video walls before LEDs took over. And every single pixel, red, green, and blue, is a tiny little standalone on or off cathode ray tube. How do you know we know that you're not some sort of crazy? I'm a crazy. 1 million is very special in my opinion. It is just I see disturbingly so many crap channels like just starting up and instantly just exploding because they do the TikTok thing. And you look at their content, they've got about 20 videos they've released, and because it went viral, they were just and then they just run out of steam. Very odd. But 1 million is very good for a technical channel. Yeah, I did. When I got to 100,000, that was like a miracle. It was like, really? Especially in the early days of YouTube, and it was really hard getting 100,000 was the equivalent of like, feels like 1 million now. But it, I would say that at that point in time, 100,000, I thought, never reach 1 million. No, never. I'll be dead before I'd even get there. And here we are, approaching 1 million. Very odd. Dave is right behind me as well. Dave at EEV blog. He'll soon be at 1 million too. That's good going for technical channels. A lot. 1 million for a real channel is amazing. I suppose it is, Rob. It's like because it's like some channels find it easier. The fashion channels find it easy to get lots of subscribers because they have a fashionista following. It's like they appeal to a much wider area of the populace. For a technical channel, 1 million is bizarre. Dave's been going at this for years. He has indeed, SK. I was quite shocked when I actually overtook Dave. I thought he was unovertakeable. Jumbotron is Sony, yes. My net goal is 666 subs. That's a good goal to go for, Scruff Dog. My advice for people wanting to set up their own technical channel is don't be your own worst critic. Don't be put off by the sound of your own voice because nobody hears it like you do. I see some videos that would be great. I just want them to speak, but because they don't like the sound of their own voice, it's all done silently, and it's just speak, say what you're thinking. Nobody cares what your voice sounds like. It doesn't sound the same to them. Also, don't be your own worst critic in terms of if you make mistakes. I used to just stop and re-record a video every time I made a small mistake. I used to be paranoid about putting videos out with even the tiniest mistake. As you can tell from my modern videos, I don't give a shit about that anymore. It's more important to get it out. As long as the audio is okay and the video's okay, that's the main thing. And as you put out more videos, your channel, you'll fine tune the appearance and you'll get used to the speaking. You won't and so much. And also, if just persist, just keep going, just keep putting it out, even if you're not going to get instant success. Electroboom is outside the norm, Megavolt Meister, because he appeals to a much like everybody basically, because he just like does the sort of joking, blowing up stuff. Miss Reggick says, I feel like I'm being told off. Well, Miss Reggick, if you've been making videos, you'd be putting up. You do that. There are so many people that I just wish they put technical comments in my videos that looks as though they get interesting jobs. I wish they'd put out content. That's what YouTube's for. Paul T, be authentic indeed. I have a rubbish voice, always have. Only in your own mind, Raven Looney. I'll never understand the appeal of shorts, Hanatar. Unfortunately, shorts are here to stay. They appeal to a different audience. I'm going to have to make more shorts. There's no real choice. The last one I released, I didn't even release it. I released it quietly behind the scenes without. I disabled the feature that tells all you guys that it's been released just because I felt ashamed at releasing a short. It was the one about the ceiling fan with the monstrosity of great luminosity under it. I should also do one of the things that I'd recommend if you're starting up a channel. Don't be put off by just one or two people making nasty comments about it or saying your channel's rubbish, you did it all wrong. Just don't take that to heart, because I still get really nasty comments, but you look at the number of people that viewed the video versus the number that complained, they can go and fuck themselves. That's the best thing to say about that. Anyway, time for Woofles, it is. And then, I believe it is time for Scruff Dog's video. So he can continue the stream in America. Wooflin. Wooflin. So we'll finish with one more Jack Attack Jaeger Minion. To you and your video content that you produce, because it's all very important. To you. But now the time has come. There's one more left. So many of these. Because there's 4 and it's a shorter stream now. To Scruff Dog, who many of you will now be going over to join, because this stream is about to come to an end. And the link should automatically appear to take you over to Scruff Dog and his kitties. There are cats, there are Woofles, there is no alcohol. Well, there wasn't any alcohol here, just coffee and herbaceous extracts. So it is time for you to head over to Scruff Dog. And when I finish this stream, it should automatically put the link up for that. So until Thursday for the patrons, till next week for everybody else, I shall see you later in the week. Take care, have fun, and head over to Scruff Dogs now.